Hello, my friends, and welcome back to the Lost Art Project Veterans Voices. I'm your host, AJ Cox, and today we're having a continuation on John Crouch's story. Can't wait to get into this. But if you're enjoying these podcasts, make sure you go hit up our website. That's the Lost Art Project, veteransvoices.org. Go check us out, see what we're all about. We are a new nonprofit. If there's a way you can help us, it'd be much appreciated. Big shout out to the Till Valhalla Project out there doing amazing things. If you don't know anything about them, go check them out. Even if you do, go back and check them out again. I'm telling you, it is a truly amazing organization. You can find them at tillvalhallaproject.com. Are you a Marine veteran? Are you missing that bond you had on active duty? Then I have a place for you. Join the only congressionally chartered Marine Corps Veteran Service Organization, the Marine Corps League. Get that brother and sisterhood back in your life. Become one of the fewer, the prouder, a Marine Corps League member. All right, we're back. We're back with John Crouch, First Sergeant, retired. How you doing, man?
Doing all right. I'm pumped and excited because today we will be talking about Navy OCS, Officer Candidate School.
It's going to be fantastic. Can't wait.
But I want to, before I transition to that world, that wonderful world, being down in Pensacola, training officer candidates for the Navy, I do want to clean up a couple stories that I forgot to tell when we were talking about Parris Island.
Mm-hmm.
And, so one of them was the base mascot. And I don't think I talked about a base mascot there, did I?
No, I don't remember that.
So I was at recruit receiving, and it was probably, 1600 in the afternoon. All you civilians can figure it out by using AI. What the hell is 1600? But it's about 1600 in the afternoon. Had a whole bunch of brand new recruits fresh off the bus, been there 1 or 2 days, and had them cleaning up all the surfaces in the main lobby of recruit receiving. I had come from another location inside the building and walked out there to look and inspect, and then I see it. I couldn't believe what I'm seeing. It's canteen cap has been left loose on a stupid ass recruit, and who's probably on his hands and knees scrubbing and rubbing and getting all signs of dirt off the ground and off the desks that were in there for recruits to sit in.
Yeah.
And I start following this trail of water. And as I get closer to the front reception desk where the senior drill instructor would sit for processing paperwork for the brand new civilians that just walked in the door, I hear the sound of I don't know, maybe a Komodo dragon. It did not sound normal for the location. I thought, what in the hell is this freaking noise? So I'm only 5'7.5" I couldn't see over the damn countertop. So I walked around, thought maybe it was someone's in cardiac arrest, the labored breathing. And there it is on the ground, about 35, 40 pounds of fat and meat is the base mascot. I think his name was Thor, Thor. And
Nice.
he, being a bulldog, English bulldog, they drool all the time. And so what I was looking at was him and his handler had come in. Of course, it doesn't keep him on a leash most of the time. And Thor just walking all over, drooling his saliva all over my damn deck, and then crashed out behind the counter on the cool tile. And I thought, you got to be shitting me. I thought it was cute as hell, because I thought for sure it'd been a damn recruit. And
that's good.
So drill instructors they're capable of making mistakes.
Something
else I did back then, we used to have newspapers. Who the hell reads newspapers anymore, right?
Yeah, that's true. They put them out still, but I don't know many people that read them.
Right. And but back in the late 80s, we all read newspapers, and I read an article about stress indicators for people who might have suicidal ideation and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm reading all these examples of what can create those type of things. I thought, bright idea. Let me figure out which recruits in these new platoons are susceptible to stress. And so, if you've got your life together, you don't have life stressors, you're in good physical shape, you can handle a lot more of this artificial stress that we throw at you than if you're a person who has a lot of problems in their personal life and maybe not in the best of physical shape.
Yeah.
So I created my own one-page draft, and I'd ask questions such as, are your birth parents still together? And if not, how long have they been apart, right? Has there been a death in your family in the last year? Are you expecting a child, or do you have children? Are you planning to get married in the next 6 months? Has there been suicides in your family or someone close to you who's not related? And so I started asking all these questions, and I came up with my own scoring matrix. So what I would do is I'd hand them out in a very clinical, non-suspectful way to the recruits. And it says, each of you will fill these out. Do not share the content with anybody else. Need to know exactly what's been going on in your life and what might be going on in your life in the near future. So when they gave that back to me, I looked at it and go, bingo, that one's getting special tape. So what I did is when they were at a medical appointment, getting their teeth checked or, their body checked for the indoctrination process, bringing them in for the first few days before we hand them over to a platoon of drill instructors, I would go back to the squad bay and I'd be looking at this one. There's his rack. All right, boom. And so I would put tape, gray duct tape, which matches the gray metal bunk beds, but I'd put strips around the pole and on each side, depending on who it was. And so sometimes they had 4 major stressors on there, right? And others might only have 2 or 1. And if they had none, there's no expectation that they have a problem with stress. And then, of course, although I can't PT their ass because it's not allowed at recruit receiving, there's other ways to create physical pain and exhaustion. And so, and just the verbal attacks that happen to begin with, right? And so if I see people, recruits start reacting negatively to my verbal assaults on them, and I would think I'd be looking at their rack behind them, and if I saw tape, maybe I'd add more tape. If I didn't see tape at all, I'd put tape on there because that person did not handle the stress that well. And so I had the platoon roster, and I'd start making notations on there, and I would hand this gold document. It's pure gold if you think about it, because you got 3 drill instructors or more, 75 damn recruits, and you want to make sure that you're focused your energy on the weak ones, right? Get them to have a mental breakdown and found unfit for training, or help them reach that low point and realize that they'll be a survivor. But the idea was about creating stress. And so I would hand it to the drill instructors, and then while they're on the up by the front of the quarterdeck, while the platoons are being introduced, the drill instructor team was being introduced to the recruits, they're not paying attention to what's going on behind them. Meanwhile, I already schooled the drill instructors on what to do. Swap up the sea bags. So when you send them back to open up their sea bag and get out their money valuable bag for that very first inspection survey to make sure that do they have their money valuable bag, they can't get their combination open.
That's good.
It is. So, and of course, we always had extra drill instructors at Paris Island. So from the other platoons who would be waiting. So when the recruits finally received the final position of attention speech and crap like that, senior drill instructors say, "Why get the command? Get on your feet. Get back on your position on line. Ready? Move!" And of course, they run back to get on their laundry number. And the laundry number is 1 through 75. And it was all based on alphabet. So if you're Anderson and there's no other A's before you, you're number 1. And if you're Zach, you're more likely number 75.
Right.
And so we had circled on the ground with a trash can, a small wastebasket, 8-gallon. We'd put a perfect circle. We put a number 1, then number 2, number 3. Squad is all set up before they got there. And so we'd be sending them back there, but sometimes we'd erase the number and change up the numbers, anything to create a stressful moment in their life. And they don't understand why things ain't working. I was standing over here. What do you mean I'm supposed to be over there? And they go to grab that sea bag, and it's not their sea bag. And
man, that's too good.
Yeah. I'd make comments like "cry's easy," right? And the drill instructors saw this. Oh man, they were all over that shit. And speaking of an Anderson, I had a redheaded kid named Anderson. I'm in a training platoon, and we had just picked them up. So this is probably forming day number 2. So for the audience, it's not Marines. You have forming day 1. That's the day the recruits were taken from receiving barracks and dropped off to the team of drill instructors. And that forming period is where they learn the absolute basics of recruit training over a period of, on the short side, 3 days, and on the high side, 7 or 8 days. I've seen long ones like that before.
I've never seen them long like that. That's pretty wild.
I have. I think I told you in the earlier podcast, I already had a brand new platoon at Parris Island before I got rid of the other platoon.
Oh, right. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So there was a lot of challenges with getting an even flow shipping program for recruits to Parris Island. I'm not sure if it ever made its way to San Diego, being the pain in the ass. I also, let me drop this down here. I call this the unforgettable reveille. So the only time recruits can see the opposite sex is at medical or at church services. That's it. But they're probably thinking about them all that time. Now, those of us who get to come and go as we want, Marines, not recruits, we have a better selection of the opposite sex to look at and think about. And but the recruits don't. So I had a platoon that was now at first day of grass week. So it's a Saturday. We just showed up at the rifle range. Parris Island, that would be the beginning of week 5 and training week 5. Lunchtime. One of the other drill instructors is taking them through the chow hall at weapons battalion, and I'm outside the chow hall. And all of a sudden, I heard my platoon louder than I have ever heard them in my life. I go, what the hell is this all about? I walk in, and they're all standing, sidestepping through the chow line. They got their tray in their hand.
Yeah.
Meat! Potatoes! And, they're sliding their tray forward and coming back. And, man, they are rocking that place. And so, 1, it's motivating to me. 2, I'm angry that I never got them that damn loud. And 3, it's their form of attracting the opposite sex. Because these are female recruits who are a couple weeks ahead, and they just finished on the rifle range, and their platoon was assigned mess duty at the chow hall. Now, they haven't done mess duty and maintenance on the bases with using recruit labor for probably 30 plus years. But back then they did. And so the platoon would have 1 week of no productivity of a 13-week boot camp, so they could maintain the visual aesthetics of the base, or they'd be in the chow halls serving food and preparing food. So that's what went on there. Now, my particular barracks at Parris Island Weapons Battalion was right beside a female barracks. I know it was a female barracks as I saw the female drill instructor, and they had blinds, mini blinds.
Right.
Now, the only barracks that had mini blinds were the female barracks, never the males. And so those blinds were always shut. And so all of a sudden the lights came on about 19:45 at night, because they just left the chow hall and marched back to the squad bay, and they leave at 4:30 in the morning, as I recall. And they're not off the chow hall. No, if they left at 3:30. That's right, 3:30 in the morning they left. So there's really no time to see them. So that evening, I had the duty. I was just a green belt drill instructor at the time, assistant drill instructor. And so I'd already had them memorize and learn the Rifleman's Creed. This is my rifle. There are many like it, but this one is mine. My rifle is my best friend, on and on and on. So, and of course, they knew the Marines hymn, all 3 verses.
Nice.
So since they know that there's females on the base and the barracks right beside them. I wanted them to serenade them. So I had them crank open the windows. The windows are just like San Diego windows that crank open. And so they're standing there in their t-shirt and underwear and shower shoes, like a church choir, only they're not properly dressed. And I had them face the female barracks and project their voice and sing a couple of sweet songs to them that evening so that they could think about the male recruits over here. So they sang the Marines hymn, all 3 verses. They did the Rifleman's Creed. And I can't remember if I had them do anything else. And I think I had them say something like, "Good night, ladies, wherever you are," or something like that.
Nice.
They all went to bed thinking happy thoughts, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm in my office, the senior drill instructor office, and the blinds are shut on the squad bay side. You know, we have a set of blinds facing the quarterdeck and another set facing the port side of the squad bay. And I had shut them, and I'm in there doing paperwork. I have my blinds open to the barracks beside me, the female barracks. Yeah. Probably 15 minutes later, phone rings. I answer the phone. Sergeant Crouch, platoon 1077. Please be advised, this is an unsecured line. How can I help you, sir or ma'am? She said, "Look out your window right now at me." I look out the window. Here's a female staff sergeant. We're both on the 2nd floor. And I don't know if she's a staff sergeant at the moment, but she did identify herself as a staff sergeant. She's wearing her cami bottoms, boots, and a green t-shirt tucked in. Yeah. And no blouse, no cover. And back then, female drill instructors didn't wear the campaign cover. They wore the soft cover or bucket cover.
No kidding. Okay.
Yeah, that didn't happen till, I want to think somewhere around 97, 2000 is when female drill instructors started wearing the campaign cover.
Wow. I didn't realize that. I thought they wore it a lot longer than that.
No.
Wow. That's interesting.
It is. And so she said to me, "Look at me." And I turned and looked at her and says, "You want to tell your recruits to quit bugging my females?" I said, "What are they doing?" And our staff sergeant, she said, "They're shining their flashlights on the windows." Now, I looked down from her, down the outside of the barracks, and I see flashlights hitting the glass, a lot of them. I also see between the blind and the glass, female recruits exposing their tits.
Oh, no kidding.
I said, "I think I know why they're shining lights on your female recruits. Your female recruits are between the blinds and the window, and they've got their tops off, lifted, showing their breast." So she put the phone down. She raised the Venetian blind in her office facing that side of the squad bay. She picks up the phone. "Solve your problem, I'll solve mine," and hangs up. And so I can only imagine what she said to them when she walked out of her office into the squad bay. And
oh my God, that's priceless.
So it gets better. Time for reveille the next morning. I flip all the lights on. Get up, gather rack, get online now. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Count off. 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, 3, right? And my eyes pick up something that I never thought I would see. The recruits are all wearing their white BVD underwear and their green t-shirt. They're all popping wood. They've got a pitch tent. And every one of them's got an erection from what had happened yesterday. And they thought that there's a woman in the barracks beside us. And I lost my military bearing. I started laughing. I said, "You got to be shitting me. You mean you seem to find them nasty, disgusting females who have no idea of humanity, have probably never seen their reflection in a mirror and recognized it was them, who comb their hair with the feet of dead chickens. You found that nasty thing attractive?" And they all said, "Yes, sir." I said, "Get in the head, make a head call, get dressed, and we'll start this again." And
oh my God, that's good.
So mail call. My God, to me, mail call can be a lot of fun. But you're handling of it can be quite strict and demanding, miserable, exhausting. And so when I was a recruit, I didn't get very many letters from family. Didn't have a girlfriend at the time, and wasn't getting no damn letters that often from the family. If I was lucky, about once every 7 to 10 days. So I always thought it would be an uplifter if those who were like me and didn't get mail, well, postcards. Anytime a postcard would come in, I would not call out the name. I would start reading. Now, if you believe that was your postcard, you were to sound off, "Sir, that would be Recruit Johnson's postcard, sir." And if he was correct, I would stop reading and hand him his card. If he was wrong, I would keep reading and I'd have him PT. Now, I'd have them up there on the quarterdeck doing push-ups until I got done reading the card. I had now I'm going to blend this mail call story from Paris Island and 4 years and then 2 years at Navy OCS. I had this one officer candidate male at OCS, and his mother, I couldn't wait to meet this wonderful woman. She was an incredible writer. She bought a stack of postcards, and every one of them were of sheep on a hill. And she would write these love letters from the sheep to her son.
Oh my God, that's good.
I bet you missed the feel of my wool in your hands as we embraced on the side of the hill. Things like that. And so I start reading, and the first time he didn't know it was him. I said, apparently someone's embarrassed about having a love affair with sheep. Well, that would be you, Cox, or whatever his last name was. Yeah. And I made him pay big time for making us lose our military bearing. But then the letters just keep coming. I bet you at least 40, 45 cards came.
Wow.
Just about every day I'd get a damn love card from one of the sheep recounting their romantic moments, almost always in the moonlit, and
it's so messed up.
It is. So when she came to graduation, I told her, "Me and the drill instructors think you are the absolute best mom in the world. I am so glad that you wrote the letters you did. It gave the platoon tremendous unity and bonding and esprit de corps, and it definitely made my day every day reading aloud the cards, because I always felt that it was unfair to those who did not receive mail. So they loved getting postcards because I would read them." One day I got a postcard. I still have it. It's two kids on a beach. Now they're sitting in lawn chairs in the deep sand with the ocean there in front of them. And one of them, they had wrote Gunnery Sergeant Crouch. And the other one, OC for Officer Candidate Miller. Now, her name is Annie Miller. And she later on married, and it became Bassett. And she actually lives 20 minutes from me here now for several years. Kidding. Yeah, about 10 years now. So we get to see each other occasionally. Her son's a Marine. And nice. I taught her son how to spit shine shoes, and just like I taught her. And it was really weird that I trained your mama harder than you got trained at Paris Island.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yes. And and the card said something like, "Wouldn't it be great if we could spend every day here together?" And so it wasn't Miller that sent it. Someone else in the class on their Liberty, because at Officer Candidate School, they get Liberty. Either they get triangle base Liberty, which limits them to a radius of about 200 yards in a triangle shape to go to the 7-day store and back to the barracks, or two, they get off base Liberty in their uniform on Friday evening up until Sunday. That's right, till Saturday morning at Reveille. And then after I secure them on Saturday, which is usually be around 1300, 1400, then they'd have the rest of that time, that afternoon, evening, the next day, be back on base by I think it was 1800 Sunday, and
Okay.
so yeah, one of them must have bought that postcard and slammed her. So when I was reading it, mail call, I said, "Oh really? I'm your fucking prom date? Is that right, Miller? I'm your prom date." And Miller was an awesome female. I mean, I just love her to death. She has orangutan arms. So if you look at her, she's probably 6 foot tall, but her torso is that of a short person. So she's all leg and all arms like an orangutan, because her arms look longer than they really are because she has a short torso.
Right.
So imagine me trying to get her elbows and everything because I'm trying to adjust her body, but her body is not proportioned correctly. And so I would be fighting her body all the time to get that perfect left shoulder, right shoulder arms position. And she was one of a few that, I'm very pro female in the military. And in fact, I'll tell you how pro female I was, then I'll move into OCS. So between tours at Parris Island, so this would have been 93 to 95 after my second tour at Parris Island. I had three females in my office, not office, in my department. Power line is what it was called. That's engines and fuel systems on the FA-18 Hornet. Right. It was in VMFA 115, the Silver Eagles squadron. So I had to send an advanced party to 29 Palms, California. We call it CAX, Combined Arms Exercise at Camp Wilson. So she's going to be out there probably 6 weeks in advance of the main body showing up to do an 8-week exercise. Well, I get a phone call one day, and it's her. She's confident. She knows me well. We've worked together about a year. I won't say her name. Let's just call her Mary. So Mary Jones. Let's call her Mary Jones. So Mary Jones calls me, and she's a lance corporal at the time. And she says, Staff Sergeant Crouch, I'm here at 29 Palms, Camp Wilson, and I report to a Staff Sergeant West, and he says he knows you from the drill field. I said, is he on the phone? Can he hear? He says, yes, it's on speakerphone. I says, is this Staff Sergeant West from 1st Battalion? And he's happy to hear my voice and that he knows me. So apparently he feels that we are going to be aligned about what he's going to talk about. And I said, what seems to be the problem? He said, the problem is your female Marine here is acting like a slut, that she's spending time with a bunch of male Marines, and she's not following my orders. And I said, well, what's the problem with that? He's dumbfounded, right?
Yeah.
He says, what's the problem with that? I wouldn't let my wife or daughter ever behave that way. I said, she's not your wife and she's not your daughter. I said, do you get upset and angry when you find out male Marines might be having intimacy or premarital sex? You don't. You let it go in one ear, out the other. You don't caution them. You don't warn them. Why all of a sudden are the standards different for a female? It's supposed to be one standard in the Marine Corps. And you're a Marine. At the most, we'll say light green, dark green Marine, indicating white or black, or male or female Marine, if there's a reason to identify gender, but the same privileges apply to everyone. I said, you can't restrict and impose your morality on somebody else. I said, she has all the permission in the world to have sex with as many people she wants, if in fact she's having sex. You're making an assumption because you didn't see her have sex, did you? And he had put a security watch on her and was following her and watching her everywhere. Yes.
Wow.
And so, needless to say, our conversation did not end that well, and we are not friends to this day. We're not connected. We're not friends.
Yeah.
And, but yes, some people do want to impose their moral standards of a female on the female Marines, but have no problem with the males being drunks, being frisky with others. And to me, one standard. If you don't like it, find somewhere else to impose your morality, but it ain't going to be in the Marine Corps.
Mm-hmm.
You can set an example of what you think a person should live their life as, a positive, motivated example. But anyway,
that's very true.
Yeah. So at OCS, I knew that there's a challenge here that the females, are they going to be treated differently by these males? The average age is about 24 at OCS. You have some prior enlisted, some that waited a couple of years after college, and those getting right out of college at 22. So it's about 24 years is the average age. College educated, a bit more mature, but still a tremendous amount of toxic masculinity, if you want to call it that. Male jocks, we're men, and they're the weaker sex. They're females. What do they have to contribute? And you see it played out in a lot of Hollywood movies as well.
True.
Those stereotype tropes. And I wanted to do everything I could to make my females successful, because I was adamant my females will be treated no differently than a male. Period. But they're going to be held to the same standard. They're not getting any pass in life. And so usually I had about 3 or 4 females in every class. So I would disassemble the M1 Garand rifle, which, oh my gosh, we already transitioned to.
Oh, yeah, you got to. Oh, yeah.
All right. Wearing my chrome dome from the helmet liner painted silver from the Vietnam War helmets that we wore, steel buckets. So we had the M1 Garand, beautiful weapon, just like this. And it's heavy. We torture them like this for long periods of time in a position called the electric chair. And
I love it.
And the reason it's called the electric chair is muscle tremors to start. And then next thing you know, it's like their whole body was experiencing electricity. Now, I never did that at Parris Island, but it was not against the SOP at Navy OCS.
Right.
It was called rigging, RIGGING. And that was something that was put into the SOP as an authorized punishment.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So that was
that's way more convenient to do something like that,
It is. But again, it shows that, and they have the opportunity to quit at any single moment, the program. So the fact that they didn't quit, they made it to the finish line, and they suffered greater physical and mental pressures than the recruits at Parris Island or the Marine officers at OCS Quantico speaks to me. We hold them as peers in the military, as Marines. And that's why when you rip that uniform off, I better see a damn Marine. And that's why they knew the Marines hymn before they knew Anchors Aweigh, or the Navy hymn, which is actually not Anchors Aweigh. It's some Protestant hymnal, basically, is what it sounds like. Oh, Father, just no one sings it. It's lame. No one likes it. I've never heard it sung in my entire existence. But I read it to understand what their history was. And but every time there's an event, they're playing Anchors Aweigh because it is written. So they just be courageous and get rid of the original and adopt that as the official hymn of the U.S. Navy.
What's funny to me is they always play it, like in the band. We would play the song when the chaplain would do his prayer. So many times we would play the Navy hymn as he's doing the prayer, and then we would stop whenever he stopped doing the prayer.
So how accurate am I in my vague recollection that it's kind of like a Protestant hymnal?
It is, yeah. It's exactly like that. Yeah, I think that's what it is, to be honest with you.
I think so too.
And there is a verse for the Marine Corps as well. So the last verse is for the Marine Corps.
Yes.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. I hadn't read that since '96 when I first got into being a drill instructor there, and tried to learn everything I could about their history, their program, to create unit pride, be prideful of the Navy. That's their service. But back to Miller. So rifle assembly, disassembly class, I took it apart carefully, reassembled it carefully in the proximity of 1 or 2 of the females. And I'd pay attention when I put them on the clock. It says, all right, when I give the command, you're going to assemble your rifles. You're going to disassemble your rifles and hold the upper receiver over your head. Go! And then they don't know how long they've got, but all of a sudden, I'd tell them stop, And stop by, sir. And there's probably 20% still not done. You
Yeah.
turds are going to cause a lot of pain. Continue disassembling your rifle, right? Now we're at like the 5-minute mark, right?
Yeah.
Maybe the 7-minute mark. And now they're dying. Anything you hold can eventually become fatiguing.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And they're swaying, holding that upper receiver in a stress position over their head, arms rigid. And so I said, I remember Miller had no problem. Miller, put your piece down and fix his freaking rifle. So she put her upper receiver down, went over there, grabbed it because they're not permitted to speak. So she pulled out the trigger assembly, and that's what it was. He lacked the technique to pull out the trigger assembly on the M1 Garand. Without doing that, you can't separate the upper and lower receiver and take out the additional parts. And so what did that do? It showed all those males that, guess what? A female did something that some of the males couldn't do.
Yeah.
Female can contribute things to this team. And so to me, that's one of the ways that you create respect for the other sex.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very much so. And very important in my opinion. So I'm glad you were doing that. That's awesome.
But a lot of people thought I hated females, and that's not true. The fact that I had a high attrition rate of females isn't my problem. It's a voluntary program. And for whatever reason, I helped them to make a decision that this isn't a good idea for them to pursue.
Yeah.
But when they put their knees on the ground because they're fatigued, I would say, there's only one standard here, the Marine Corps standard. You get your freaking knees off the deck now. There is no female standard here. Well, the XO of the school was a female lieutenant commander.
Yeah.
And she hated I would bring negative attention to gender. But I wouldn't say it if they hadn't done it.
Yeah.
If they kept their knees off the deck, I would have made no mention of gender. But we're taught, at least I was in my generation, girl push-ups are with their knees on the deck. Mm-hmm. And male push-ups are knees off the deck. And that's why I said what I said, in case they were resorting back to what they were taught in grade school. I know that when I went to grade school, middle school, and high school, there's mandatory physical training.
Oh, yeah.
You couldn't escape it. You had to participate. And we did calisthenics and whatnot. But yes, so male call to me is a great opportunity to create those bonding moments, that communal affair that we're doing something shared together. Now, initially, it's a great way to learn names. You got 75 damn names.
God, yeah.
And so, Johnson, here, sir. He started associating the names and whatnot. And of course, you had rules. So if they use blue ink, well, they're getting tortured. All right. Blue ink, get on the quarter deck. Right. And going on down, if they had a little stickers on there, graffiti, get on the quarter deck. And if they use your first name first instead of your last name, it better be recruit REC Cox, Anthony. It better not be Anthony Cox. And so wrong sequence of names. Get on the quarter deck and just keep going through that stuff. Now, if there was the scent of perfume, I sniff it. And then I pass it around. Well, I don't care who the recipient was. They could be right in front of me. It's getting passed around. Your girl is getting passed around. We're all going to smell that smell of female perfume. And I did the same thing at OCS because that's mixed gender. And sometimes I would take I would put Aquavelva on their letter, and then I'd pass that around.
Nice.
So the guys had to smell Aquavelva as it worked its way to the female who would be embarrassed.
Yeah. And, so, that's good. Oh, man.
What else? So if I'd feel it, and if I felt something, open it, pig. Right? And they open up their letter. What's in there, sir? Cat hair, sir. What? Show me. And her brother had taken the shears and clipped off a tremendous amount of cat hair off of the cat named Charlie. And so she wore glasses. So I told somebody, says, get me some Scotch tape now. And so someone ran and got the Scotch tape and came back, and I put Scotch tape on the bottom of her glasses with the hair hanging down like eyelashes below her glasses. I said, now you can think about Charlie and feel Charlie on your cheeks. And I started tossing cat hair on the other people in that platoon as well, dousing them with cat hair. And,
that's good.
Food or candy, I get pissed. So at Paris Island, I did not violate the SOP. It says you will not withhold food from recruits if they receive it in the mail.
Yeah.
Someone got a pre-cooked ham. Now get the hell out of here. What's he going to do with the freaking ham?
Wow.
Yes. And, but I had, when I was a green belt, I had a couple of seniors that said, no one hands out mail but me. Make sure you're here, because before those recruits hit the rack, they're receiving their mail.
Yeah.
Well, I had seniors that wouldn't have their ass there. They wanted to go home. And they thought, well, maybe I'll do the mail tomorrow. I handed out that damn mail. It's in the SOP. It says you will not withhold their mail.
Yeah.
And if you got this hard on about me handing out mail, then you better be here to hand out the mail. And
not to mention, if you keep it overnight, that's could be considered a federal offense.
It is a federal offense. It certainly is. And like they need extra reasons to punish us as a drill instructor, you know?
Yeah.
So I would, after a while, after I really got to know their names, I'd do airmail delivery. I would fling it. I'd Cox, here, sir! And I'd fling it. And I got pretty good. I never knocked out an eyeball, but I got pretty good. God help you in the early days when you had to come up there and retrieve your mail, get two hands and slap. Mail received, sir. You better not touch my freaking hand. If you do, you got yourself a trip to the quarterdeck. And
oh, man.
All right. Let's see here. So I remember I was looking at a postcard, and it said OCS, second week of training. This is actually written to me by one of the officers. He said, I was still learning the name. So speaking to me, I'm still learning the names and how to pronounce them. So I would pay close attention to the names and the letters as I read out the names. Yarriger, here, sir. What the hell kind of name is that? What the hell does that mean? Sir, Yarriger is German for hunter. Bullshit. It probably means he who hides behind rock. Push pig.
He who hides behind rock. That's good.
Let's see here. The joy of the platoon.
Man.
There's no damage, right? So I can't stand cookies being sent. So this is at OCS. I got a box. It's like the size of a shoe box, just for small shoes. And I shook it. I thought, that sounds like cookies to me. I said, McClellan, here, sir. I threw her the freaking box. Open it. And so she's over there, opened the box. I'm handing out the mail. So if you got packages, you had to start opening it up immediately so I can inspect it before you get to keep it. So I'm looking for food, candy, pornography, all kinds of contraband that could be in there. So, oh, that's right. I took her before I handed her the box because I was so confident it was cookies. I said, McClellan, here, sir. Spam. I slammed that to the ground. And pick up your damn box and open it up. Right. So she picks up her box. She opens it up. And I finally get done with the mail call. I said, maybe 3 people had stuff in boxes. What did you have? He tell me. I said to her, what did you have? An iron, sir. Now I'm looking at the box. It was for a clothes iron for ironing clothes.
Yeah.
I could see at one time it held an iron. What the hell is in there making all that noise? Pieces of an iron, sir. And she was angry, and I thought she was going to cry. And I said, well, you going to cry? No, sir. Put it on my desk. I'll replace it. And so I did the right thing. I replaced the damn iron. So that evening, I made a detour on the way home, went by Walmart. Now, at that time, I'm probably 36 years old.
Yeah.
I've been ironing my clothes since I was 19 in the Marine Corps.
Uh-huh.
So I've had quite a few irons. I know what they should cost. I know it does the job. And so I'm trying to get her the exact one. The last thing I need is her saying that she got a this and I gave her a that,
Yeah.
And so I find what looks like the same iron, the box. And so they had a price checker in the aisle. You just scan the barcode and it tells you. It said $111. I go,
Oh my God.
that can't be. All the other irons are like, $9 to $22. So I found a lady that works at Walmart. I says, ma'am, would you please price check this for me? And she went straight. I says, that won't work. It told me it was 111. She says, oh, that would be correct. I said, what do you mean? $111? She says, oh, that's a Rowenta. Those are the best. Those are the absolute top tier. Now I'm pissed. All right. I am so pissed. Not at me, because some rich kid whose family seems to think that she needs nice things from a rich zip code bought her the best iron on planet Earth and sent it to her.
Literally the best iron on Earth.
So I buy this fucking iron and I take it to mail call and I throw it at her. I says, don't break it. And so
wow.
Now there's a much smaller box and it's probably about this big right here. Not very big.
Okay.
And for those not watching, it's probably 6 inches square in all directions. Mm-hmm. I shook it. I could hear the little faint rattle. I guess it's got to be cookies, just like the last box. I took it to go spike it, and thank God, God was in the room with me. He grabbed onto my arm. He didn't let me do it. And I was halfway through at the moment of release when I didn't release. The same God that protected me from Gunnery Sergeant Wiggins, who was a DI school instructor living across the street from me. Yeah. And I tossed it to him. I says, open it up. Finally, I finished up the mail call. What'd you have? Norelco 3-head razor, sir. I says, I've had it with you rich kids from some rich zip code. You will all write a letter to your family tonight. I will have stamped envelopes that are addressed, and in there you will simply write, do not send me anything under any circumstances. I have everything I need here, and if I need something, I have permission to go purchase it. So imagine how fast the checkbook would run out of cash if I kept replacing these items that I keep breaking because I'm convinced it's cookies. I was a calorie counter for officer candidates, not me. I ate what I wanted, and so they got a candy bar, Snickers bar. I go, 275 calories, huh? Well, eat it now, boy. Eat it. And so you eat that candy bar, and I says, now let's burn them calories so we don't gain weight here. And I PT'd the shit out of them. And while I'm conducting mail call, and for those who are those perfect drill instructors out there who've never done any of the things I talk about, that's why I keep saying Navy OCS Pensacola, which no longer exists. And the SOP was 3/4 of an inch thick, not 3 inches thick, like Paris Island, San Diego, and Quantico.
No joke.
It was a different place, different set of rules. And
oh man, that's good.
One day, I get a phone call from the regimental headquarters, which is the next building over. Mm-hmm. I answer. I said, Gunner Sergeant Crouch, the wife of Officer Candidate Wells is here, and she brought a birthday cake for him, and she would like to meet you and give it to you to give to him. So I'm thinking, you got to be shitting me. Now, Wells has been an outstanding officer candidate. Mm-hmm. I mean, top notch. And at this point, he's probably somewhere at the midpoint of training. Let's say he's at week 6 or 7. It's a 13-week program. And so I walk over to regimental headquarters. It takes me about 4 minutes to get there. I walk in. She's dressed like a Southern belle, beautiful sundress, attractive lady. Her first name's Michelle. She says, I'm Mrs. Michelle Wells, and I appreciate you coming over to take this, Gunnery Sergeant. And if it's okay, I'll call you Gunny, because that's how he talks about you in his letters to me. He says, Gunny this, Gunny that. I said, absolutely, And I visit with her for probably 7 minutes. And I says, well, ma'am, I have to get back to training, but I appreciate you, and I'll make sure he gets this. So when we went to do mail call, I took them to the dungeon. Normally I do it up in the passageway outside their 4-man rooms. I say, get online. All right, sir. And they stop what they're doing. They get out in front of their room in the hallway, and they'd be lined up, the whole length of it, males and females.
Yeah.
This class had one female in it. No, he was in class 09, wasn't he? I think he was in class 09, had no females. Oh, he was in a class with females. He was class 1, 5, 9, or 7. Had about 3 females in there. And so I took the female recruits aside before mail call. I had it done in the dungeon. It's the first deck of the battalion headquarters building. We call it always aggressive names for everything. And that was called the dungeon. That's where I did standing manual rifle arm, manual of arms with the rifle, the M1 Garand, to perfect it during hours of darkness, so they could have perfect inspection arms and left and right shoulder arms. So I was do mail call in the dungeon that day. So I called over on the 1MC, which is a microphone that blasts the entire barracks. Class 1, 5, 9, or 7, I give the command, you fall out, get down in my dungeon for mail call. Fall out! And so I would walk on down there, and I had hid the cake around the corner where they couldn't see it. I got my 3 females and pulled them with me into another location. I said, all right, have any of you seen the Marilyn Monroe video of her singing happy birthday to President John F. Kennedy? And, I think 2 of the 3 did, right? I says, well, she was being very sultry. She's wearing this beautiful cocktail dress. I said, you're not wearing dresses. You're wearing that nasty shit you got on. But I want you 3 to sing very soft. Drop down to your knees, and you whisper to him in a very soft voice, a breathy voice, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Officer Kenneth Wells. Happy birthday to you. Well, I brought the cake out. He didn't know this was going to happen. I brought the cake out. I said, someone's birthday today. Who might that be? Does anybody know? This recruit, sir. I mean, this officer candidate, sir. Oh, Wells, huh? Well, what do you say you get over here in your push-up position, and I'm going to uncover this cake. And we're going to get a nice picture of you doing push-ups over the cake that your wife brought. And by the way, I got to meet her. She's a lovely Southern belle. And I told her that I would make sure that you receive this cake. So while you're planking push-ups over the cake, I've got some special guests here that are going to sing happy birthday to you. And they came out there and they sang to him. And of course, the platoon was laughing. They thought it was hilarious. Yeah. When they finished and they broke away, I said, the reason I had you face the bulkhead where the cake is over here is I want to make sure you could adjust your trousers if you needed to. But he was a phenomenal officer candidate, and later on a phenomenal officer in the Navy.
Very nice.
He had jet grades. And so, to fly jets, you have to have the best grades when you go across the street after OCS, when you're going through the flight program. But he had jet grades, easily could have flown jet fighters. He requested to fly helicopters, and he wanted to fly the oldest ones in the Navy, the Frogs. And because when asked why he wanted the oldest helicopters in the Navy when he had jet grades, he said because they're going to get the newest helicopters when they get phased out. And he already been thinking about a career. He made it a career.
That's pretty smart though.
His call sign was Gunny. And you don't get to pick your call. You don't ever get to pick your call sign ever.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna grab it right here. Just a second.
Okay.
Now, where in the heck did you just go? Well, son, I love all bitch. Oh, here it is, right in front of me. Damn it! I'm gonna promote somebody else's book. You gotta buy this book. What's your call sign? It's on Amazon. You'll see a fighter pilot, Marine, who's wearing a flight jacket. Get it.
Yeah.
It is worth it. It only comes in hardcover. And believe me, this thing is incredible with the photographs of aviation and the stories that go with the call signs. And, when I was in aviation, we had Lieutenant Moss. His call sign was fungus. And we had Lieutenant Chu. His call sign was spit. And I asked him one day, I said, he was my OIC, officer in charge. I said, Captain Chu, I said, curious, when you all have social events, with your wives, girlfriends, do you all have call signs for the spouses and girlfriends? He goes, oh, yeah. I said, well, what's Sally's? And I knew her name was Sally. He said, oh, hers is swallow. They'll say, here comes spit and swallow.
That's good. That's really
Captain
good.
Bright, his call sign was not so. Not so bright.
Yeah.
But Gunny's was Gunny because he maintained a Marine Corps flat top.
Okay.
In the field, super high polished, impeccable spit shine brown flight boots, not black, because the aviation and the Navy would pride themselves that only aviators could wear brown boots, and the black sole Navy or black shoe Navy is the surface side, the ships and submarines. And but then they finally opened it up that everybody can wear brown shoes and took away that glory that was hard earned.
Yeah.
And so yes, he was an incredible officer. And one day I asked him, I had learned that he had gone to the ED, emergency department, and 5 hours later, he's missing a testicle, and he had cancer. And that was why he was in such excruciating pain. So being a Marine, you know how we are, gallows humor, dark humor. I said, oh my God, what I wouldn't give to be in your squadron. He says, why? He still calls me Gunny. Why, Gunny? I says, well, the first thing I would do is I put your freaking name up there on the board. Lieutenant Commander Wells, new call sign. And then you start listing what it should be. And so I would have put nuts, N-U-T-S, and then cross out the S. I would have put jewels and then cross off the S with a red stripe. I would have put half sack. I would have put UA, and he said, well, not that we ever get to choose our call sign, as you know. It's always given and awarded to you, and the more you resist it, the more it sticks or something worse. But, I would have picked UA because that's exactly what happened. I went to the emergency department. 5 hours later, it's UA. I don't know where it's at. And, but they never gave him. They never gave him a new call sign. He got to keep Gunny for his entire career.
Wow,
which is outstanding.
That's pretty cool.
Even as a recruit, I remember getting tortured because there's a stick of gum in there, and I got my ass tortured by my drill instructors. So I was writing a letter that night. Do not ever send me gum or any other thing in the envelopes. I just got tortured, right? Well, Mom didn't get it fast enough. There's still more gum coming. She thought she'd slip in a stick on letters, right? Packages. Mail call in the pit. Sometimes I would do a mail call in the pit because I had to be gone by 18:30 at night. No drill instructor stays past 18:30 unless they are doing an indoctrination for a new class that they are putting through in dock week.
Oh,
And then
okay.
they stay until 2200, and then they return at 0445, 15 minutes prior to reveille to be back on deck. But because they're college educated, mature, and they have billet holders in their final 2 weeks of training who are treated like NCOs in the fleet, they have some authority. So that's kind of what that experience was like.
Interesting.
So I would do mail call in the pit because I needed to give them a pit call, but I also had to get mail handed out, and I can't do both. So I'd hand out mail in the pit while they're exercising. And I remember one day, Canada got a box of cookies, right? Open it. What is it? Cookies, sir. And of course, he had to open the whole damn thing on his back doing leg lifts. Right? And I said, well, damn, that's a lot of cookies. You going to eat them all? Or you going to share them? Share them, sir. If you want cookies, open your pie hole now, and he will come by and provide communion. So he got to stop doing exercises. He took his box, and anyone who had their mouth open, he would put a cookie in there. Now, their hands are still underneath the small of their back, doing 6 and 90s on their, or hello dollies, which is leg spreaders or flutter kicks. And so I could tell by the way they're crumbling that, oh my God, those things have no moisture in them. I said, I'm compassionate, right? And so what I did, I said, if you all want a drink of water, put one hand in the air, all these hands up, right?
Yeah.
So I went over there with my garden hose, like I was watering my plants. I come by and I just drop some water into their open pie hole. And it made them feel better because they got to wash down that nasty American Revolution dry cookie. Remember those dried crackers from the MREs?
Yeah.
Bread? Yeah, about the same level of moisture content, 0. You could use it. God. You could use it in a sucking chest wound to dry up and clot.
Yeah. It's true. Man, that's good.
Another one was a postcard that came in. Oh, no, it says, a package was received and inside was a bottle of male cologne. The candidate also happened to be white. And this is from the writings of an officer that I trained. You asked for the bottle and then sprayed it all over, said candidate. You then asked Jessup if the cologne appealed to the taste of a black man. You have no idea how hard it was not to break out laughing at that moment. Because I says, Jessup, get over here. Jessup runs on this. Inhale the scent of his cologne. Tell me, does that appeal to the taste of a black man? He's over there sniffing. I think he said, no, sir. Another one said, you totally destroyed me over the postcard my father sent from Italy. He was talking about the Jeep, G-H-E-E-P, that crossed the street, causing all of the cars to stop. A Jeep is a cross between a goat and a sheep, and it really does exist. Well, the conversation went like this. Zelensky, what the fuck is a Jeep? Sir, a Jeep is a cross between a goat and a sheep. Zelensky, tell your dad he's stupid.
Oh, man.
What else we got here for? All right, so 2/3 of the way through training, there's a box that was received and was addressed to me, the class drill instructor. Well, I was foolish because it's the first time I'd ever received a package, right? And what the fuck is this? I says, who knows anything about this? Now I had straight faces, So I opened the box and I'm looking inside, and it contained about 50 candy bars, enough for the whole class. And they were the Yoo-Hoo brand candy bars, along with some cans of the Yoo-Hoo chocolate drink, spelled YOO-HOO.
Yeah.
You didn't get the joke, so you asked, who the fuck can explain this? And then someone said, sir, the drill instructor often says, Yoo-Hoo, get your ass over here, or whatever else it is that you want us to do.
That's good.
I'll let them have their well-earned
Yoo-Hoos
refreshments. So another one is I learned in one class to never trust candidates as I was handing out boxes during the mail call. And there was a box addressed to me, the drill instructor. I asked who knew about this. Nobody answered. I pulled out a knife and I opened the box, and then I saw this green camouflage material. Thinking it was something of a military interest, I pulled it out. And to my horror, I was now holding up a green camouflage jockstrap. It was near the end of officer candidate school, so I laughed and said, I assure you all, I am not wearing this. And but I did. One special night.
Oh, that's funny.
I'm going to call somebody to bring something down here so I don't walk away from the camera. Oh, that's right. I turned off my phone. Hey, Carrie, would you ask Adriana to go upstairs to the bathroom and get the plaque with the pig? Thank you. All right.
Oh, man.
So during one mail call, it was the very last mail call before graduation.
Okay.
We've been treating them, always treat them during the last 2 weeks, weeks 11 and 12 and 13. We treat them like fleet Marines. They're no longer being hazed and harassed, but we can still punish their ass if we want, up to including commissioning morning. So this is my very first class I trained, class 219 or 6. And a female by the name of Wise was her name.
Okay.
And she requested admission to speak. I says, what? Sir, this candidate would like to thank the drill instructor for reducing 2 cup sizes from this officer candidate. It was the cheaper and less painful than surgery, and I really mean it. I was stunned and speechless. Why? There's more information than I had ever hoped to learn about you. I laughed, shrugged my shoulders, dismissed the class, and walked away. So she arrived curvy, but she left lean and mean. And, resulted in 2 cup size reduction. I'm sure there are men out there telling me, what kind of insane person are you helping a woman reduce cup size? Well, if you had to lug that much around, you would be happy to reduce the weight.
Yeah. Very true.
One time during mail call in the dungeon, you were sending the mail by air delivery, which is why I throw it. One of the letters missed the mark, which is very unusual. Your reply killed us because you had been making fun of the large nose that Annie Miller has for several weeks during mail call. When the letter you shot across the room seemed to experience air turbulence, you remarked, oh, sorry, Miller exhaled. And another time you said, you think you can keep those nostrils closed during mail call? They're the size of intakes on an F4 Phantom. And they're influencing the air currents in this room, Miller. See
That's
here.
awesome.
Look forward to looking to that. We talked about that. So yeah, we'll talk about the pig plaque when it comes down.
Yeah.
And
well, let me tell you, if you don't mind, I'll tell you one of the things that I used to do. And I had this recruit that his mom, because as a senior, we had to give out our number or whatever, so somebody could reach us and, if they needed something. And I didn't want to do it, but that was the rule that we had to do. So I did. And this one, he was actually my scribe. So his mom almost, I won't say daily, but at least once, twice a week, she would email me. And it'd just be about random stuff, like just asking questions. What about this? What about that? And I would always answer it nicely, but every single time I'd come out and I always tell him, I was like, guess what? My girlfriend emailed me today. So I put him on the quarterdeck and, wear him out. So he would write home, hey, Mom, stop emailing the senior drill instructor, because I'm getting IT'd for it. So she would ask me, are you punishing my son because I'm emailing you? I was like, absolutely not. I would never do a thing like that. I'd be out there punishing him every time. It was a good time.
absolutely. Conscience of the books. So improvise my idea. Yeah, we did that. So let's talk about Navy OCS and its origins. It started off as AOCS, Aviation Officer Candidate School, in 1956. Before that, the Marines arrived in 1947. And I think I may have led into this that the Navy said, hey, we'll let you keep all your Marine aircraft mechanics and you give us your best NCO staff NCOs, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Right. And so what a beautiful program this was. I absolutely loved it. I've yet to meet a drill instructor who did not think that was the highlight of their military career.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had some great assignments in the Marine Corps. And to me, it was the best 2 years of my entire life that I've ever served in employment. And so on my first day at OCS, I'm in the changing room with the other drill instructors. There's 6 of us, maybe 7, and total. And the non-commissioned officer in charge is Gunner Sergeant Willett. And I didn't know his background at all, but they want to hear your background. Now, I did not know at the time, but you had to be vetted. Someone had to speak positively about you in order for you to get orders there. Now it's more formalized. They have a selection board, and they look at your service record book and ask you questions and all that kind of crap. Back in the day, it was your reputation only that got you there.
Right.
If you didn't know anybody, it was very unusual. They're going to take a chance, a roll of the dice. Because we can't risk having one outlier and 6 others that are super hardcore, and that difference in intensity level being disproportionate. We all have to come to the table with the same level of intensity, because if they see there's a difference, they'll want to know, well, why can't the others be like him?
Yeah.
The soft drill instructor. And thank you so much. And I'll put this over here for later. And so I'm telling my story. I started out in aviation. I was in VMFA 323, the Death Rattlers, in 1980. And I was there until the squadron broke apart, and those who were going to stay in the unit with enough time were going to go learn how to work on the F-18 Hornet for a 6-month school. And then the airplanes would come back as F-18 Hornets, and those would be now trained F-18 mechanics and the pilots as well. I didn't want to do that, so I stayed behind looking for a new assignment. And so I told them that I had 2 choices after 5 months of not doing a job in the Marine Corps. Sergeant Major says, you got a choice to make, and I'm not going to wait. You're going to tell me it's either going to be 6 months of nuclear guard duty, or you're going to interview to be a general's driver. Of course, I jumped on the general's driver, and I actually got that. I said, some poor sap got stuck being the 6 months of nuclear guard duty. At that point, he spoke up without any affection whatsoever. He says, I am that poor sap that got stuck on 6 months of nuclear guard duty.
No way.
It wasn't 6 months. It was 8 months. And the only reason it wasn't 9 is I hunted down my non-commissioned officer in charge of hydraulics shop, because he was a hydraulics mech, and say, how long am I going to stay here on mess duty? I've been on a nuclear guard duty. I've been on nuclear guard duty 8 months. So he got, relieved. And so I felt kind of embarrassed about saying some poor sap when he's now my boss. And but him and I were very close and very much alike in how we dealt out stress to officer candidates. One day they have what they call room locker personnel inspections, also known as military training test. It's where you have your room perfect, the desk and its contents perfect, your foot display perfect, the rack, M18, M1 Garand rifle fully disassembled on the rack in a perfect organization. The rack looks like it was made with a hot iron. I mean, it is tight. Their officer candidates would sleep on the floor. They would not sleep on their rack the night before because they spent so much time getting everything perfect. And we come in there and do our inspection. And one day, the chief drill instructor, Master Gunner Sergeant Jerry Holtree, he had been through the program as a gunner sergeant in the mid-'80s, and he came back 10 years later to be the chief drill instructor. He called all of us drill instructors, there were 6 of us at that time, into a classroom. And he wrote on the board a column on the left, and there is 6 rows, and the first column was our last name.
Okay.
So Crouch, Willette, and then I'm not going to say who the others were. And he said, here's my problem. I got you two assholes, me and Willette, he's pointing to us, who have a hard-on for trying to get attrition as high as possible and make everyone DOR this program and not commission. And when it comes to RLP inspections, you have the highest fail rate. Then I have you two here in the middle. You're pretty consistent. You start off super intense like a green belt, and then probably around week 5, you start transitioning to the senior drill instructor role, which I don't understand why you two assholes up here didn't do that, because you're playing green belt from beginning to end. And then I have the other two down here, and after a week or so, you're already putting on that black belt persona and being a senior drill instructor to them and not being an asshole. And you all have to get on the same level, because that's how allegations occur. That's how the chain of command gets involved. The chain of command says, I like what these two do over here. Why can't you other 4 be like that for those two, right? Mm-hmm. And vice versa. And I said, well, I don't have a hard-on for getting DORs. The fact that I'm able to generate enough stress and they want a DOR, that's on them. It's luck of the draw. I said, I'm the same way with everybody. I don't play favorites around here. In fact, I'm the only drill instructor here that inspects his own officer candidates on the first inspection. Because when someone fails an inspection, that's when they get inspected the following day on a Saturday by their drill instructor.
Yeah.
But I'll inspect my own candidates on the first inspection on a Friday and fail them. It doesn't bother me. I don't have any loyalty to them. My loyalty is to the program. Find out who has quit their DNA and make them DOR. That's it. Yeah. And because no officer should graduate the program and have the ability to say, you know what, I'm not feeling it anymore and quit. Right. They should not ever have doubt in their heart. They should never have quit in their DNA, because if they have doubt in their heart, they're going to be showing off body language of being insecure and unsure of themselves. And that is not how you lead men and women in combat. So I said, as far as failing inspections, I attribute that to the fact that me and Willette are both aviation mechanics. Well, what the fuck does that have to do with anything? Man, they were getting pissed because the other 4 were ground side, right? I said, no disrespect intended. When we replace a part on an aircraft, we have to inspect the part that was installed by somebody else. You have to have clean hands. You could never have participated in the replacement of that part. So you have to be a qualified inspector who knows what they're looking at and go over there and inspect that component that was replaced. Let's say it was a main fuel control, and then look in a 3-foot circle around it. What else is wrong with this picture? While it's exposed, is there anything else that we could fix? Right. I know where all of the Irish pennants are from the factory. Irish pennants are lengths of thread where the sewing started or stopped and is left in place by the tailor that sewed that uniform together. Right. And you're supposed to clip them, anything that's greater than 1/8 of an inch. Clip it till it's flush with the material. And I know where they're at. I know that if I flip up the collar, they're right there at that juncture. I know if I lift up the armpit, it's at the bottom of the armpit. I know if I open up the front. So I started talking about where all these locations are inside the sleeve, where it stops on the back side. I said, how many of you other drill instructors know that? Instead of us lowering the standard, what do you say we raise the standard? I'll have my class put together a perfect wall locker, and then I will give a TMI, Techniques of Military Instruction, to the rest of you, showing you, and Willette can do the same thing, what we look for when we conduct an inspection, because these are things that you may not know and will make you a better drill instructor. But I teach my officer candidates, and they're not having as high of a fail rate as your officer candidates. So I attribute that to you not knowing and not teaching. And I got to keep the standard up where it belonged. One of the things, that's right. So it was brought to me. So during one particular mail call, this pig, stuffed pink pig, was in a box. And so I thought to myself, okay, I'm going to make magic out of this. It was addressed to me. And so
nice. Okay.
I open up the box and I see there's a pink stuffed pig in there.
Uh-huh.
This is class 19907. They only had one female. They started with about 6, and the other 5 all quit in the first week before they made it to battalion. They DOR'd.
Oh, wow.
And Bissy Hawes, little short thing, maybe 5'3", and blonde hair. You can actually see her with her hair still too long, going into the chow hall right after me receiving them. And I marched them into the chow hall, and she's this little short thing with a blonde hair bob cut, and that's her. And you'll find that video if you search GYSGT, which is Gunnery Sergeant Crouch. And videos, and you'll see all kinds of videos. You'll see a video where I'm in the camouflage uniform, and they're all wearing the chrome domes, which is the spray painted helmet liner like I'm wearing right now.
Yeah.
And that's where I do my introduction speech of who I am and what you can expect from me and what I expect from you.
Very nice.
And she had told me that at the end of training, she says, when you first spoke to us, I was convinced I'm making it through this program. I said, how in the hell what I said to you going to create confidence that you're going to make it through the program? Now, if you're a Marine, you know exactly what this speech is. It's the senior drill instructor speech.
Right.
Sit up straight, get your eyes on me. My name is Staff Sergeant Johnson. I am your senior drill instructor. And assisting me in the training of Platoon 1075 are Sergeant Johnson, Sergeant Maxwell, Sergeant Smith. And they all went to position, attention, back to parade rest. And then you give a very forceful speech about what you can expect from the team of drill instructors, how you're expected to treat each other, and what we expect from you. And you finish it with, we offer you the opportunity to become a United States Marine. You say that from the position of attention. I substituted Marine Corps with Navy and Marine with the word officer or naval officer. And I gave it very forcefully. And so I said, every person here, whether you're fat or skinny, tall or short, fast or slow, can become an officer if you can develop self-discipline and spirit. She said, nice. I was all 3. I was short, fat, and slow. But you said I can make it through the program. I said, well, you sure as hell did, Bitsy. And she's one of those, just like Annie Miller, that I had told, I says, I'd be proud. Should you be so lucky as to survive me in life, to carry my casket as you all bury my body 6 foot down.
Yeah.
And, wow. But I mean that sincerely, because they had the ethos, the spirit of it. Another one was Wise, from my very first class, who talked about genderless warriors. And I talked about that, didn't I?
Yeah.
Yep. So I thought, how am I going to did I talk about the Medal of Honor tag program?
No,
I don't think so. And the class penny program, I didn't talk about that either.
Okay.
So I'm looking at all the class t-shirts that are framed on the classes who have already gone through the program in the preceding couple of years. Right. And they line the passageway. So that's to give, it'd be a photograph of the class information above a t-shirt that the class designed. And so an example of a designed t-shirt is like this one here from class 19907. As you are, I once was. As I am, you will never be. It's got a Marine Corps Eagle Globe and Anchor. And what did it say in the back? DNA eraser. So that's what they gave me for a call sign.
Nice.
And of course, we'll talk about Yut in a little while.
Yeah.
And what else do we have on there? Yeah, and they gave reference to the Medal of Honor tags that I'll be talking about in a minute. So POWs and the national flag, honor, courage, commitment, our core values. Well, I thought to myself, all these shirts from Gunnery Sergeant Mark Heiler, the Marine that I replaced, I got to meet him for about a month before he left, had his face with a campaign cover in the shape of a copper penny. And it said, in Heiler, we trust. Hyler is his last name.
That's
So
pretty
I said
good.
to Hyler, I says, I like this. Tell me about the class penny and what the history is. He says, well, I took a class penny, just a penny, and I gave it to my first class. I said, I want to give this same penny to my very last class. So you'll hold on to this penny every day, whoever the section leader is, and you'll give it to the next section leader, the next section leader. So for Marines, it's like, imagine if you had a different guide every day, platoon guide. And so that person would be responsible for the custody of that penny in their left forward trouser pocket.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're being PT'd, you're always fearful it's going to come out.
Yeah.
So I said, I'd like to continue that tradition with the twist. Do you mind? He says, not at all. So what I did is I went to a coin store and I bought Indian head pennies.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Indian head pennies were back in the during the Civil War time frame, as I recall, and their last penny, I think, was 1909. And they had an Indian with headdress on for the front. And I bought one for all of my future classes. I didn't know how many classes I'd have, but I had a handful of pennies. And I would, at the end of the first week in training, they've now left Poopyville, which is the first week of training for recruit receiving officer candidate school indoctrination is what they called it. And it was called Poopyville because they wore poopy suits, which are green coveralls, going back all the way to World War II time.
Right.
And so now they're in battalion. And it's their first Saturday in battalion. Or no, their first Monday in battalion. So at evening, before I had to break away, I had them all together. And I'd tell them, I said, every day the section leader position changes. One of the responsibilities is to take this Indian head penny, which I have assigned to this class. I've taken careful note of all the discrepancies on it that's accumulated in the last several decades. You will keep that in your left forward pocket, unrestrained. It will not be in a baggie or any other artificial device. It will sit loose in the trouser pocket. You will not put a rubber band around the pocket to prevent the penny from rising up and out during leg lifts. Anytime that I see you or any other drill instructor says, let me see your class penny, pig, you reach in, pull out that penny and present it with open palm for inspection. Anytime that you lose that penny, you immediately let the very first drill instructor you find know. And you say, sir, class, not you. You mentioned the class number. Class 15907 has lost their class penny, sir. At that point, that class drill instructor is going to torture the whole class. And then the word's going to get out. And all the drill instructors will be torturing your ass all the time until you find that penny, that very same exact penny. And I knew they wouldn't get off base liberty for at least 6 weeks. I knew that for a fact. So there's no opportunity to go to a coin store and get one, right?
Right.
And I check their mail when it comes in. No pennies have found their way in. I said, now, on the night before graduation, it's called Hi Moms. Moms, girlfriends, dads, brothers, uncles, they all show up with you at the officer club. And the drill instructor, the class officer, the class chief petty officer, and the chain of command are all introduced, and they all give a speech. And the drill instructor gives the last speech because we're the best. We are the show. You don't want to follow a Marine drill instructor when they give their speech.
Right.
I will talk about the class penny and how that is how we are going to learn and earn responsibility. Because as officers, for those of you who make it through the program, you're going to be entrusted with equipment. That equipment may be just several $100s of office equipment. Could be several thousand, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, or it could be millions or multi-million dollars worth of equipment and billions if you stick around long enough. You're responsible for that. And an officer who can't maintain proper care and custody of their equipment should not be an officer. And the Navy and the Marine Corps will make sure that you're not.
Right.
I will ask for my class penny, whether I know the answer or not. You bring up the class penny and you'll hand it to me. That means everything went as planned. And I will tell them that this is a responsible class that can be entrusted with equipment and much more important things, such as the lives of sailors and Marines.
Mm-hmm.
They're accountable. They know where their equipment is. They know where their people are, and they're taking care of it.
Yeah.
If the class does not have the class penny and nothing but silence is met, I will tell them that I am going to go to Home Depot or Lowe's after graduation tomorrow. I'm going to buy a metal electric outlet box, and I'm going to knock out one of those knockout plugs, and I'm going to call it a slug, and I'm going to write with a black Sharpie SLUG. And then I'm going to go ahead and slam it hard with a hammer to flatten it out, because a little bit of it's being curled. And I'm going to put it under the glass with your class photo, and that will remind me that you're a slug class who could not be trusted with a single penny for accountability.
Oh, wow. That's good.
But if the penny's there, the penny will be with your class photo.
That's cool.
Every class lost the penny. The record was about 6 or 7 days. That was a very stressful 6 or 7 days, because they lost it out by the aircraft static display across the street. I was PTing their ass one evening in the grass, and it slipped out of the pocket into the grass, got pushed into the mud. And so they would be out there with flashlights in the dark when they're supposed to be in the barracks, probing and looking for the penny, stirring up the earth to find that damn penny. And can you imagine the guilt that Officer candidate felt that was responsible?
Oh, yeah. No kidding. Yeah.
And every class has their class penny with their class photo.
Nice. So they eventually found it. And
yes.
Yeah.
Much to their relief, they would go. Sometimes I'd be doing it in the sand pit behind the barracks, and I'd throw it over their head at dusk, and it'd land in the sand. And they get to start off with the stress of finding it. And they'd be in there begging the cafeteria ladies for colanders to go out there and sift the sand to find it.
Wow.
So later on, started about 20 years later, I started taking those pennies, and I'd remove it from the class photo. Of course, I scanned it all first, so I had a nice picture of it with the class penny. And so when I got invited to be at their retirement ceremony or their change of command ceremony, as a speaker, I would then give the audience the story behind the class penny. And then I would hand that penny to that officer that's on the change of command going off to his next command, and he can use that as something on his desk, probably in a protective box, and tell him the story of accountability.
That's cool. I love it. Wow. That's a good way of doing it.
So hopefully those who up to this point thought he should have been court-martialed, he did not deserve the opportunity to train future officers and Marines. I did good things.
Yeah.
But I did a mix of good things and evil things. Something else I did is these officer candidates are not like Marine recruits. At commissioning, do I want an officer that's terrified of staff NCOs and their authority? No, I don't. I want cocky, self-confident ensigns, which is like a second lieutenant in the Marine Corps, who are not afraid of staff NCOs or chief petty officers, who will put one in their place if necessary, and but will accept good mentorship from the good ones. But how do I create that end product when we are actually doing a MCRD experience and how we treat them? So I'm not advocating to stop punishing them, but I am advocating how do we create that confidence. And I thought to myself, imagine if there's these little drones. Now, I didn't know they were called drones because we didn't have that expression in our vocabulary back then in 1996. Granted, we did use drones, but they were monstrously big, not something as small as your hand or your thumb. I said, imagine if we had a drone or something that flies through, and it's a camera, and it allows anybody who wants to log in. I want to check in on class 02-98. Boom, because my sister's in that class. Boom. And now you see that camera showing the footage of what they're experiencing at that very moment.
Right.
It's not being recorded. It's just live streaming. I thought that would be so cool that if you knew that, would you behave differently and would you stick around longer? Because it's easy to quit when the people present you will never see again. You will never cross paths with them again. So you can be the biggest whiny turd and DOR and quit because you couldn't handle the stress.
Yeah.
And then make up some lie and tell your family and friends back home. So therefore, I thought, how am I going to create accountability to make them try harder than punching out as fast as they can? So I thought, if they're accountable to somebody else, that's how, but not the officers in that platoon, that officer candidates, they don't care about them. So I took Medal of Honor books for World War II, Korea, and Vietnam. And I read through there and I looked for all the Navy and Marines. And I read their stories, and the ones that I was most motivated by, I wrote that information down. And then we had an ID tag machine that we manually punched our own ID tags.
Right.
So I'd have that free labor of a future officer that's going to be commissioned in 2 weeks, or maybe it's some turd in G Company that's like MRP platoon, Medical Rehabilitation Platoon. They call it G Company. And they sit there and they punch out all these tags, only one tag per name. And they put them all on a short tag chain. So I had the very first class I did this for, I had that ring in my hand. And so I did it somewhere in the first week of training in battalion. So I had them down in the dungeon. And I've actually got a video of it, and I should upload it someday, where I give the speech. And I said, it is disgusting that unless it's a family member or somebody extremely close, most people have no knowledge of the Medal of Honor, its significance, or somebody who was a Medal of Honor recipient. They couldn't name one. I said, don't ever say winner of the Medal of Honor. It's awarded the Medal of Honor. It's not earned, and it's not won. It is awarded. They don't want that recognition. They'll all tell you the heroes are the ones who didn't come back, and they wear this to represent their memory. But that's how significant this is. 2/3 of all Medal of Honor recipients receive them posthumously. That means dead. They did not live to see the recognition. They're not perfect people. There are no perfect people ever on this earth. So I'm not saying they're perfect people, but I am saying that they were perfect when it mattered.
That's a good way of putting it. Yeah.
Each of you is going to be accountable to a Medal of Honor recipient. These tags that I'm holding, I'm going to hand them out. Wherever you get, you will take these books that I leave behind and you will copy verbatim their citation. On your free time, when you get liberty, you will go to the library and you do research and find out what you can about that person. When I ask, or anyone else asks the question, who do you represent? Understand this. This is the only platoon, the only classes who do this are mine. And you're the first class. I'm going to do it for every class thereafter. The other drill instructors are welcome to do it, but no drill instructor likes to copy another drill instructor's ideas. They think of it as stolen valor. I said, but I hope that they would do it. And lucky me, 2 drill instructors picked up my 2 programs, the Class Penny program and the Medal of Honor tag program when I left the program to continue that tradition. I said, so when you are running in formation and you want to be a run drop, think about who you represent. They didn't understand the meaning of the word quit. They would run until their heart burst, but they would not quit to save their life. When you're so fatigued that you know you need to keep studying for this exam tomorrow so that you stay in the class, do you go to the bed or do you go to the rack, or do you stay up studying more because it's that damn important to get a passing grade? Your uniforms, are they prepped good enough to keep you out of trouble tomorrow? Or do you need to work on your spit shine? They all had leather shoes, so They were all
Right.
spit shine, extremely high glossy, to the same standard you thought you were looking at core frames. And even the drill instructors, only a couple of them wore core frames. And we give them shit for wearing core frames. You should know how to spit shine shoes and take the time to spit shine them. I still, to this day, spit shine 5 days a week. It takes about
Nice.
4 to 7 minutes to, and I highly recommend Lincoln stain wax because it has the highest amount of carnauba wax in there to give a hard shine that has a great glitter. And but there's a couple others in there as well. Angels is one of them, and another one is Sapphire. But back to the story at hand, metal honor tags. I said, if you dishonor their memory because you're a run drop or you do something dishonorable to get kicked out of this program, if you DOR, you will surrender to me that tag and you'll never get it back because you were chosen to represent somebody who did not understand the concept of quitting. And you quit the program or you dishonored the program by your actions. There's only one that dishonored the program, having sex in the barracks with a female underclassman a couple classes below him.
Oh, geez.
Yes. So and that was at this very end of training. He's like 10 days from commissioning. So it cost him a commission, unfortunately, for him. And she got to stay in the program because that's how it works in the real world. Senior person takes the greatest punishment.
True.
And but we connected years ago on LinkedIn, and good man, shouldn't be punished his whole life for a decision he made. And so every single person, and I probably collected 50 tags back, had tears running down their face when they handed that tag to me, because it was at that moment of that symbolic transfer of the tag from their ownership to my hand. They knew they could have tried harder. But they chose to DOR from this program.
Wow.
So all of them because they DOR'd, and one because he was dishonorable. If you were a run drop, you had to write a letter of apology. And I would mail it on your behalf. I would mail it to their family if they were dead, and I would mail it to the recipient if he was alive. If you make it through the program, I would give you their address. Now, that was a lie. I wasn't going to mail these away, but it made them try harder because they didn't want to have to write a letter of shame to them.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. So that'd be a tough letter to write. That's for sure.
Yeah. And so the next tag, after I handed out that first batch of tags to everybody, I thought, I'm going to set an example myself. The next one was PFC Ronald L. Coker, Vietnam, 1968, March 23, I think. Or March 21. I have to look it up. It's been a couple of decades since I had the tag, and I'll tell you why I got rid of it. So I did what they were expected to do. I memorized his story. So when I would then do this with the follow-on classes, I would tell them, I said, the tag that I wear, which is the next tag on that chain, was Ronald L. Coker, Private First Class, United States Marine Corps. He was the point man. No, the point man on a patrol suffered a horrible wound when they were chasing the VC into a cave. So there was a small patrol of VC, and this was a squad of Marines. And the squad of Marines took pursuit through the jungle trails, chasing the VC. The VC took refuge in a cave, turned around, and started firing upon the Marines. A Marine was hit and went down at the entrance to the cave. PFC Ronald L. Coker threw his weapon down and went forward to grab the fallen Marine. While moving toward him, he was shot in the leg. A grenade was thrown out, and a piece of shrapnel hit him. Undaunted, he grabbed that Marine with indomitable strength, started pulling him in the hell of small fire. Marines are putting suppressive fire down, but they're still firing out of the cover of boulders and whatnot in the cave. And threw 2 more grenades that bounced off the chest of the Marine and exploded. He got hit even again, grievously. Turned out to be mortally wounded. He got the Marine to safety.
Mm.
Coker died of his wounds trying to save
Yeah.
that fellow Marine. I've never found out the name of the Marine, and I don't know if that Marine ever lived or died, but that was the spirit of a Marine in combat who fought the enemy.
Wow.
So fast forward, probably 5 years, about 6 years, maybe 7. I'm a first sergeant at Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. I have a motor transport instruction company. And then I got 1,400 Marine students, 135 instructors. And so I drove out to a training area where they're learning how to drive the Humvee. And so they're Marines, they can relax and let their hair down and have a good time. And there's probably 35 Marines waiting their turn while the other vehicles are out going through the trails. And I seen a Marine in my company had the name Coker. He was white, so was Coker, the one that I wore. I said, Coker, you have anybody in the family that ever served in Vietnam and died? He says, yes. I said, really? What was his rank when he died? Was he an NCO, a staff NCO? Was he a non-NCO? What was his rank? You remember? He says, I don't remember. He'd just gotten over in country. I only heard the story one time, and he was killed as soon as he basically arrived in country on one of his first patrols.
Wow.
I said, did he receive a high award? I don't want to tell him what the award was. He says, I think so. I was young when my father told me the story. He says, Marines, get over here. School circle. I brought them all in a tight circle. And I told them the story of the Medal of Honor tag that I did at OCS, and that the tag that I've been wearing since 1996, and I pulled it off my uniform, and I unsnapped it. I said, you are going to wear this tag for the rest of your life. Chances are it might be your great uncle. You're the right age group that he would have been a great uncle for this event to have happened. And if not, at least you know the story and you can keep his story alive. And so I hope it was his great uncle that he was now his memory, coming full circle to him.
Right.
That'd be really cool. So I have not worn a Medal of Honor tag since then on that. Now, I tell you what I will do. See if it's sitting over here. Here they are. So I have a 35-year reunion coming up at Parris Island next month.
Okay.
Thursday, the May 14th, 15th, and 16th. So I thought, I'm going to have tags made for those Marines who are coming to the reunion. Here's a big bag of tags.
All right.
And I had them punched, and it simply says, turn it around here, Platoon 1037. And then it's got the rank and name of myself, because I was the senior drill instructor, Staff Sergeant J. Crouch, and then Staff Sergeant A. Aguilar, Sergeant V. Gardner, and Sergeant Maluski. We never knew what his first name was. Must have been Sergeant. So I'm going to tell them about my Medal of Honor program that I did at OCS many years later after I trained them, and told them that you all are out of uniform. He says, these are not Medal of Honor tags, but just like the movie with Gunner Sergeant Highway, Heartbreak Ridge, you're not all in the same uniform as me.
That's
you're
right.
not all wearing the right tag. And so on my ID tags that I wear every day, I now have 2 of them, one with my information and one with the one that I'm going to give them.
Nice. That's
Now,
really cool.
I told the officer candidates, I said, you will shine that tag, that stainless steel tag, until it has the luster of chrome, because they distinguish themselves. You, however, will never polish your tag, because yet you have yet to distinguish yourself as something worthy of memory.
Yeah.
So a couple of them told me that they were asked questions about their tag in the fleet as young officers when they were asked, do you have your ID tags on? Yes. Show me. And they'd pull it out, and then they'd see the one shine like chrome. And they'd see, it would say VADM, Vice Admiral James Stockdale. Gave his dates of POW, and it had the words POW. Now, if they were killed in combat, it would say KIA. If they're a POW, POW. And if they're a Navy SEAL, it said SEAL, that you knew that was the tag of a Navy SEAL.
Mm-hmm.
So all the Navy SEAL tags were punched out and issued out over the years. And
wow.
I think it's a very cool program. And
it is. Yeah, I love that. That's a great idea.
So I hope to get that started at Parris Island, but some bean counters say, oh, no, that's going to cost money. You know how much it costs to make an ID tag? And say, no, we can't do that. Well, how about creating a culture or a brotherhood? How do you put a price on the ultimate price that someone paid?
Yeah.
And what are you teaching them? Because you at the day movement course, when you're going through the Crucible, they talk about different Medal of Honor recipients. So why not talk about the same kind of thing? Now, I did have a tag made for every class that I trained. And so I'd say OCS class 15-97.
Right.
And I'd do the same. So I might have 2, sometimes 3 tags that are class, the Medal of Honor tag and my own tag, all of them on there. So when I left the program, it was just my tag and the Medal of Honor tag. But I told them, as loyalty to this class, I have a standard I'm expected to uphold to ensure that you get the toughest, most demanding training possible here. And I'm willing to put my career at risk every single day to ensure that you get that kind of training. And I hope you appreciate it.
Wow. Yeah, that's good. Holy cow.
Take a drink here.
I don't know. That is, in my opinion, an incredible program. I really, really do like that. That's awesome. That is really cool.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Held to a higher standard. And I said this all the time. I believed I was the best drill instructor. But what drill instructor doesn't believe he's the best? Have you ever met one that didn't think they were the best drill instructor?
Usually, if it's like that, they're struggling.
Yeah,
maybe they're new.
But at some point, every drill instructor thinks they are freaking awesome. They have the best inspection arms. They got the best port arms. They got the loudest platoon. Whatever it is, they feel they do something better than everybody else. I always said that they're crouch trained. They're held to a higher standard. And so one of my classes, class 07-98, had that put on their shirt, their chest. Held to a higher standard, 07-98. And it's a very muscular Navy guy with his wash khaki uniform top, with a green T-shirt underneath with the Eagle Gold and anchor. And
very nice.
What else did it have on there? Death Before Dishonor, because I had a class mentor program I'll talk about to make them feel special. And again, I tell them, I says, only gun sergeant crouch trained classes have these type of things. They design their shirts, and there's the class penny right there.
Yeah, that's cool.
And on the back, it was shaken, not stirred. So it was
nice.
And of course, it has all their call sign, their last name, then their call sign, and what their job skills going to be.
Right.
I still haven't talked about the pig, and I'm going to talk about that pig too, because we're talking now OCS. But I would tell them that their crouch standard, they're held to a higher standard. That would egg them on. They would inspect them super critical for their uniform and room inspections, right?
Yeah.
So I had a high attrition rate because they would fail. And if that was their second failure ever, they're gone. They just no longer were in my class. And it may be their first failure, and they're hoping they pass the reinspection, which is by me. And I had the best attention to detail, I think.
Yeah.
And one of the officers, Don Loton, from that same class, 0798, I did his Friday 4th week inspection, and I failed him. And though I inspected him the following day, I failed him. Pack your trash, pig. You're going to G Company and classing up with the next class 2 weeks behind. Yeah. But at commissioning, he wanted a first salute with me. he wanted to maintain connection with me, and we've been business partners for decades in some multimedia stuff. And he's an incredibly gifted lawyer, incredible brain. He left the Navy. He says, I was a horrible officer. I did not deserve a commission. And I'm the first to tell you that I should never have been allowed to go through the program. And how I made it through the program, I don't know. And but he was a diver, and he had injured himself diving. And they were going to put him as a desk jockey the rest of his career. He says, no, I signed up to be operational. I wanted to start off as a rescue swimmer and a diver, and then go to BUDS and earn a trident. That was his path. And since he can't pursue that path, then he's going to punch out. And he did. And he went off to get his master's at MIT for economics. Then he took a prestigious law program over in London, and on an exchange program. And so he's really talented. He has flown out, I think, every year to see me somewhere for probably 20 years now. To visit like family. And some of these officers, especially the frequent flyers, they've got the code to get into my house and my alarm system. They crash at my place. Two of them were pilots that will be traveling, and they might overnight. Well, they can go to an Airbnb, stay at the hotel, but if it's going to be a long overstay, they'll come crash here. And like a stepson, And who would ever think that you're in your drill instructor's house? In fact, one of them, L. Reiner, I did not train L. L was in class 08, 9, or 8. The one that Don Loton went to, because that's the next class behind me, 2 weeks, right? So I gave him some shit. I understand, screaming, yelling, maybe a PT punishment, whatever. But he never belonged to me. And we ended up connecting on Facebook, and then meeting up at an air show. And from there, the rest is history. I stole him, and so he's now my pig. It's no longer Gunner Sergeant Dozier's pig. Gunner Sergeant James R. Dozier, combat infantryman, what's the engineers? Combat engineer? What's the one?
CEB, the Red Patchers?
The ones that destroy things, the ones that blow up things, that destroy things. Combat engineer, I believe. Not EOD, but they play with explosives. But they'll redirect an infantry that's coming toward you, and by using mechanical things like trees, preventing movement. So now they have to change their direction, which might go into a minefield or a.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Combat engineer is what their name is. That's right. And so Dozier was his drill instructor. And so one night at my house, I've got Andy Miller from 0798, L. Reiner from 0898, and I like chocolate chip cookies. I says, hey, y'all want some chocolate chip cookies? And, yeah. So I said, how do you want yours, Al? How do you want yours, Andy? And then one of them said, I never would have thought that when I was at OCS that Gunner Sergeant Cross would be asking me how I want my cookies. So I thought that was funny as shit. So That's pretty good. So I call his drill instructor on the phone, and he answers, thank God. So James answers, hey, Warrior, I'm here with one of your pigs, Al Reiner, from class 08, 9, or 8. And you're on speakerphone so they can hear you. So James always gets kind of like, oh, shit, what's going to happen next? Because I loved fucking with James. Him and I were great nemesis for each other in a loving way. And I said, I'm here making cookies. And I asked your pig, how does he want his cookies? He says, I never could have imagined any drill instructor telling me how I want my cookies. But in case he's ever at your house, he likes his warm and soft.
Nice.
But Annie likes hers hard because she's hardcore.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. Shoot, we're almost we're right at that 2 hour mark.
Yeah, we are, man. So I have more stories to tell. I guess I got to get big on the story. Now, am I still reserved yet for any future stories? I don't remember.
That I'm not sure. I'd have to pull it up and look, to be honest with you.
Yeah, we can
talk about find that out in here in a minute.
I'll let
But
you sign off to your guest, and we'll talk about that later.
Sounds good. Wait, hey, thanks again for coming on and doing this. I thoroughly enjoy your stories. You're a great storyteller. So it's great times. And you got a compliment from one of my guests that just recently did an episode or a recording. He said he listened to your story and he is like, oh, it was fantastic. You did a great job. But so just so you know, somebody saw it and thought you did a good job as well.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah. All right. To everybody out there, if you're struggling, you need help, anything like that, don't forget the VA does have some good resources. You can dial 988, press option 1. You can always text 838-255 or go to veteranscrisisline.net. Click on that chat icon. Any of those options will put you in contact with somebody that can help you out. But remember, one veteran life lost is one too many. I care about you. No, John cares about you. The whole veteran community cares about you. So please reach out for help. And if you're out there, you're not struggling, reach out to the buddies you served with, ask them how they're doing. And if they need that helping hand, please give it to them. All right. One last time, John, thank you very much. To everybody out there, stay motivated. Change your socks.
No more 22. On to the journey and finish the fight.